As Black Sabbath once sang in their song Wicked World, the world today is such a wicked thing. And to be honest, they're not wrong. Every day we're bombarded with news of violence, death, destruction, and heartbreak. And like many of you, I've often found myself wishing for world peace, a dream so many of us hold on to. But the million-dollar question is world peace an achievable dream? Today, I want to share my thoughts with you by exploring 4 key ideas. Number 1, why world peace is unrealistic. Number 2, why we should strive for harmony instead. Number 3, how we can learn from history. And number 4, the role of storytelling. Very quickly, I want to talk about what inspired my topic. When I saw the theme for this event, I wasn't really sure what to talk about, until I remembered one random night, maybe 2 years ago, when I couldn't sleep, so I went to harass my poor mother. Randomly, I started talking about world peace, and I went down the rabbit hole, as I usually do, while my thoughts kept pouring out of me. The thing that stood out to me was that I said that conflict could never stay away forever. It can be as simple as a person irritated by their neighbor because their generator is too loud, to a war on the scale of World War II. This leads me to my first point. Why world peace is unrealistic. World peace to me means a world where everyone is in complete agreement and conflict no longer exists. But when I think about the countless times I've disagreed with people I love, the problem is that conflict is a part of being human. If you live in a congested city like I do, in my case Lagos, you know you can't go a day without something irritating you. Whether it's your family members, reckless driving, or Lagos traffic, conflict is sitting in a corner waiting to pounce. The truth is, conflict isn't inherently bad. It's how we navigate it that matters. So we can reframe the idea of conflict. Rather than something to eliminate, it's something to navigate. Here's another example for you. During the Cold War, the United States and Soviet Union were locked in a tense rivalry with stark differences. Achieving peace, where both nations would completely abandon their conflict, was impossible because their interests and values were fundamentally opposed. However, despite the ongoing tension, moments of harmony emerged. One notable example is the Apollo-Soyuz test project in 1975. At the height of the Cold War, American and Soviet astronauts collaborated on a joint space mission. Their spacecraft docked in orbit, and the crew exchanged gifts, conducted experiments, and even shared a symbolic handshake in space. This mission didn't demand that the Cold War end or erase the deep conflicts between the two nations, but it showed that even amidst tension, cooperation and mutual respect were possible. It didn't demand that the nations agree on everything. It only required a willingness to collaborate for a greater good. So if world peace is out of reach, what should we aim for? Harmony. That's my second point. Why we should strive for harmony instead. Harmony is about embracing our differences and finding ways to work together. It is the state where different elements come together to form something beautiful, despite their differences, like in music. Why did the orchestra come together stronger than ever? Well, it started with the strings. They were a bit high-strung at first, and the violins kept whining about how they carried all the melody. The brass section was blowing things out of proportion, claiming they were the trumpets of the group. Meanwhile, the woodwinds were fluting around, trying to stay neutral. And the percussion section, they were beating around the bush, avoiding the real issues. Then the conductor stepped in. With a wave of his baton, he reminded everyone that no single section could create a symphony alone. The strings brought the emotion, the brass brought the power, the woodwinds brought warmth, and the percussion tied it all together with the rhythm. They realized that when they worked in harmony, their differences created something beautiful. And in the end, they didn't just make music, they made magic. So this shows us that we can have worldwide harmony by having respect, empathy, and compassion for others. As Confucius said, harmony but not uniformity. It's not about erasing our differences, it's about using them to build something greater. Now, my third point, how we can learn from history. One reason I love history is because it not only records the common mistakes others made before us, but how and why those mistakes were made. We can use history as a guideline of what not to do. But history isn't just about avoiding mistakes. It's also about celebrating progress and learning from the resilience of those who came before us. Moments like the civil rights movement remind me that while humanity is far from perfect, we have the capacity to grow, change, and come together in powerful ways. Picture this. You're a child having fun climbing the couch then jumping off it. Your mother tells you, stop jumping off the couch. Or as they say in Yoruba, Mashubu. And so she leaves the room and you climb on the couch and jump off again. But this time, you don't land on your feet. You land on your knee. Hard. And so you start screaming and your mother comes back running into the room. Once you explain, she shakes her head and tells you, don't do it again. Obviously, you're not going to do it again. This scenario shows us that without history, we wouldn't understand of our triumphs and our failures, and we would keep repeating the same patterns over and over and over and without moving forward to something better. Now, my last point, the role of storytelling. Stories have a unique ability to connect us. When we share stories, we invite others into our experiences. For instance, Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Purple Hibiscus, also known as my favorite book. Stories are like a way of saying, here's who I am, let me show you my world. Like in this comic. This shows us that when people have an opinion of you, you can tell your story and show them that this is what it's really like. Now, beyond connection, stories shape how we envision the future. Works like George Orwell's 1984 and Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale warn us of societal pitfalls, sparking critical conversations. They inspire collective action, urging societies to unite in creating a just and harmonious world. But perhaps the most magical part of storytelling is their power to drive real change. Malala Yousafzai's I Am Malala galvanized global efforts for girls' education, proving that storytelling can bypass borders and mobilize worldwide support for a common cause. Ultimately, stories resonate because they touch universal desires, to belong, to matter, and to be understood. Stories inspire us to envision and work toward a future where differences are not only accepted, but embraced, creating a more harmonious and peaceful world. But before I conclude, I ask you this. When you were reading fairy tales growing up, didn't we all believe, even for a moment, that the world could be as simple as good triumphing over evil, mixed in with a little bit of magic and happily ever after? I know we were so naive. But let's stop striving for perfection and start working toward harmony. We may never achieve world peace, but together we can fulfill a world where our differences are celebrated and our collective harmony becomes our strength. In a world that will never be perfect, harmony is our greatest hope. It's something we can create together, one interaction, one choice, one story at a time. Thank you.